installed at not to exceed $4,160.
So moved.
Been moved,
Second.
seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Then we need to authorize the township staff to order the material is needed for the installation. The quote or the estimate was $6,029. I mean, we can do that. If it has to go over, they can bring it back to us. So we have a motion to that effect. It's been moved
I'll second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. 036-2015, it's considering joining the Keystone Purchasing Network. Dawn?
The Keystone Purchasing Network is very similar to some of the other council of governments out there. Council of governments are generally an organization that allows purchasing for school districts, nonprofit entities, and government entities. The purpose of joining the Keystone Network is that Keystone works very closely with a lot of playground equipment and sports-related equipment. While some bids will only allow the purchase of materials, Keystone allows you to include the labor. The following item on our agenda is for the playground safety surface here at the Cecil Park. By joining the Keystone Purchasing Network, it allows us to make a purchase for the product of that material as well as the installation without having to develop a serious set of specifications and have to go through the entire bidding process.
Is it similar to co-stars where you don't need several different bids on it?
That's right. They follow the state guidelines as far as going out and soliciting bids, and they comply with all the state rules and regulations so that we, as well as any school district or nonprofit, would be able to purchase and make sure that they're still in compliance with the state law.
That sounds like a good idea.
Have we talked about that at budget time?
The playground safety surface we did, yes. There is no charge to join the purchasing network, the Keystone
That was the
Purchasing.
next one.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion.
Second.
And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. Okay, then for 037-2015, it's authorizing our manager to proceed with this. Dawn, was that the estimated cost of the?
This is the estimated cost for an individual that came down last year, did a cursory review of our park, determined what it would be to prepare the area, pour in place the safety surface, and all of their materials and labors. Material and labor cost came in at approximately $48,000.
Are we able to change equipment out on that surface and still not void any structural integrity of it?
Everything should be installed prior to this. This system is poured very similar to like if they would come to it.
I know, but it's going to be around our existing playground equipment.
That's right. It's
If
going to
we
be.
change that out, does that, how's that impact the surface? If we have to buy a new piece
You
or?
have to select your equipment prior to placement of the material. So we need a couple pieces of that playground, because we had to take a couple pieces out of service last year.
So you
What's the
want to
plan-
look
what's
to
the plan
add
for
to
that?
the playground?
I think we should have, we removed two dangerous pieces last year, and we should replace those two pieces.
What?
So we would have to do that installation prior to them placing the play surface.
Right.
Because it's a poured in place.
And also if we wanted to move something around or
Yes,
change the
if we would like to
position, we don't.
relocate, I've done a safety inspection up there, and we're in compliance as far as balls and stuff like that. So if there is something that, the time to relocate is prior to the placement of the play surface.
Right,
And I think we have requested and received approval for $60,000
correct.
in our budget to take care of this.
Make it.
Now, there's a few pieces that need to be moved from the back. Then there's area between the playground equipment and to the swing set area
Yes.
that could be put there that would make it more efficient.
But did our Parks Board come up with some equipment suggestions for us to
I've
consider
been
buying?
working back and forth with Shirley Burns on this. I can email her and ask if perhaps, since this did come in lower than the 60,000 budget, if we'd like to add some new pieces to this park. One of the things that was brought up was perhaps take that additional money and make an improvement of one of our other parks, so we're not just doing work at Cecil. Perhaps we could add a piece of equipment in Lawrence or Southview or something instead.
my work, the authorization by the board would essentially authorize me to get the project moving in as much as contacting the contractor, having a full color mock-up of what it is that's going to be included, suggestions of equipment, and none of that would proceed without a board and also the the recreation board without some of their input as well.
There's still some things that need to change. There's a slide over there that, because of weather, has a huge hump in the middle of it that needs to be taken out and replaced. So this is just really the starting process for this.
All right, do we have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
It's been moved
I'll
and
second
seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, the motion carries. All right, for 038-2015, it's authorizing the manager to advertise to fill a vacancy in our planning director zoning office. Now, understand this, that we've had a vacancy for years as our planning director. We hired Bruce Bosley as the zoning officer. He's been filling in and doing those duties as a planning director all along. And in budget time, we discussed either hiring an assistant back there for Bruce because it's just, the department's just too big, the township's too busy for one person to handle it. We said that we never intended Bruce to be the planning director, but kind of the duties got shoved on him. So as opposed to hiring an assistant there, we at least ought to look outside to see who's available, who might be interested in joining the township here. It's not an easy position, or it won't be an easy person to find because it's not a typical degree you can get and be out there on the market. It's normally somebody who's gotten experience with another municipality in the past. And so if we put it as slash, it's not to indicate that Bruce Bosley's position is in jeopardy. It's more that if someone comes who has some experience in zoning, then we like them for zoning, and Bruce may move into planning, or vice versa. So at least that gives us the opportunity to see who's out there.
Have we sat down and wrote up a job description?
We'll do that. That's part of
the
it.
next step in this process. I think it's a good
All right,
idea.
we're going to do that if the board wasn't interested. Remember, at budget time, we talked about an assistant. And I really think the department needs a staff person back there, not just an assistant. So at least we can look at it. If nobody comes along, if nobody applies and has the experience we're looking for, then we'll go status quo. The position can stay unfilled. So do we have a motion to authorize?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise.